Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gretchen and today I am back with another Women's Prize for Nonfiction review, and today's pick is the shortlisted title Codependent by Madhumita Murgia, and this book explores the impact of artificial intelligence, or AI. Now, the first thing that I will say about this book is, if you are someone that is kind of on the fence about reading a book about artificial intelligence because you think that it will be over your head, or maybe you think it will be too jargony or scientific for you to understand or process the book, don't let that scare you. This book is extremely accessible, and the author does an amazing job of using language that is easy to understand, and she really is catering to a wide and broad audience. So even those of you that have no knowledge about artificial intelligence, or you are versed in it, the author presents it in a way that you're both going to understand it. And for those of you that are well versed, it is not done in a way that's condescending either. It's very accessible to all readers. The second thing that I will say about this book is, I am one that is personally fascinated by the idea of AI, but I am also terrified of the idea of AI. And I honestly will say that this book inspired hope in me about the benefits of AI. Although the author does explore both the good and the bad, there is a very even balance within the book of giving people the good side of things and learning how AI can benefit the world in positive ways, but it does also talk about the darker side of AI. And even when we talk about the darker side of AI, one of the things that I was really surprised about is, in my limited knowledge, I'm not saying that I am extremely well versed in the subject of AI, but I know enough to be dangerous. Even things that I had previously thought were true about AI from, multiple different avenues of information, I was really surprised at how much I learned about how the message about AI that was being delivered was not necessarily true to the extent that I thought it was. So I learned so much about how AI really works, and the scare tactics that a lot of media outlets, or depending on what type of articles or news programs or books or things that you're reading are providing to you, it may give you a false impression on what AI really is and how advanced it truly is. And that's, I think, my biggest takeaway from this book, is that in my, narrow mind of knowledge as it relates to AI, I thought that AI was much more advanced than it truly is. And I am not saying that it is not advanced, it absolutely is, but there is a level of fear that goes along with the idea of AI, thinking that, robots and artificial intelligence are going to take over the world. And how do these things know the things that they do in order to interact with us on our daily lives? And what I quickly learned, it is not as seamless as it seems to be, and there is still a lot of human interaction behind what we consider to be AI in the world today. So I really appreciated learning all of that information, because it really did help quell some of the personal fears that I have in relation to AI. So that was something I was not expecting to get out of this book at all. I actually thought that this book would make me more fearful as I finished it, and it was actually the complete opposite. I feel like after reading this book, I have a better relationship with the idea of AI and what it can do for us in the future and how it can impact our lives in positive ways. And one of the things I mentioned earlier is that the author does an amazing job of balancing the good with the bad. Obviously, with anything, there are pros and there are cons. And she didn't just present everything that was good or present everything that was bad. She presented as much as she could and let the reader develop their own opinion and their own ideas and their own thoughts about how they personally feel about AI. And I really did appreciate that. Now, the novel is set up into multiple chapters, and each chapter is almost like an essay or a case study of a particular aspect of AI or a particular subject that AI is impacting. So ones that really stood out for me is there was a chapter on how AI is positively impacting healthcare in underdeveloped countries. We have these doctors that are working in remote areas, and they might not have access to all of the equipment or the services that they need. They might not have access to a radiologist that could look at an x-ray and diagnose a patient with a disease. So AI is able to give those doctors or those healthcare providers more information about the patients and help them better treat the patients without all of the access that we would have to healthcare professionals and equipment in our developed countries. And it was really interesting and hopeful to see how AI could have such a positive impact on those underdeveloped countries and humanity in general. So that was a positive chapter. And then we had a darker chapter to offset that by investigating the world of pornography and how AI has contributed to these deep fake pornography videos that can take the images of women that have never participated in anything like pornography and making extremely lifelike videos and photos that are ruining their lives. And that chapter was one of those ones that was super scary to read about, having firsthand account from several women that this has happened to, and not only learning about the act of these bad actors creating this deep fake pornography, but also how easy it is for them to get away with it because we don't have laws in place that are going to protect our likeness, and there's really nothing protecting people by way of the law from things like this happening. And if you are a victim, it is very difficult for you to get any justice for yourself or have that completely removed from the internet. So the author did an amazing job of pairing the good with the bad. And I would say for all of the bad things that AI can do, I still ended up finishing this book being hopeful about how things could become better because of it. With any type of technology, with anything that we develop, there is always going to be a good side and a bad side, and how we choose to use it is going to determine whether or not it is going to be beneficial or destructive. And regardless of what the thing is, there is always going to be a group of people that take advantage of it and use it for evil, and we just need to be able to get better as a world or a country or wherever you are at making sure that we have regulations in place and that we have ways to prevent those horrible things from happening. So it was such an interesting read, and it was funny at times. It was really sad at times. And as I went from case study to case study or chapter to chapter, you know, I was kind of on that emotional roller coaster. And the other thing I loved about this is she wasn't just throwing facts at you. She pulled in real life people that were experiencing that aspect of AI. So she wasn't just presenting research, she was presenting firsthand accounts and conversations from people that have lived through those specific experiences with AI, and I just really enjoyed the book in general. I think that this is a super important book, and I think it's something that everybody needs to have on their radar, whether it's this book that you read or whether you seek out additional knowledge about it from a different source. Just make sure that it's a reliable source. That's all I ask. But AI is such an important subject, and everybody should educate themselves on it, because whether we like it or not, it is already impacting our everyday lives, and it will continue to do so in the future. So I highly recommend this book. I can definitely see why the Women's Prize chose to highlight a book like this. And one last thing I will mention about the book is this book has been out in the UK for a while, and as of right now, it is not available in the States just yet. It is available for pre-order, but it's not due to come out until, I believe, June 18th, I think is the date. So I was fortunate enough to be able to get an e-copy through NetGalley. So special thanks to NetGalley for providing me an opportunity to read this book ahead of time. And we should be seeing it on our shelves here in the States within the next few weeks. So I highly recommend it. If this is a book that at all sounds interesting to you, I think it will be a good read. Also, it was a very quick read for me as well, because it was set up in those different case studies. They were very easily digestible, and they weren't so long that I was struggling to find pockets of time throughout the day to sit down and read one of them. So I think that not only is the content digestible in the sense of it's easy to read, it's also going to be a book that you should speed through pretty quickly, just because of how interesting it also is. So we are getting toward the end of the Women's Prize for nonfiction. I believe that the winner is announced the second week of June, sometime the second week of June. I think maybe June 11th, if I'm thinking correctly. I still have one more book from the shortlist to complete, and I will get a video out for that soon. And then I will also be doing a predictions video for both the nonfiction prize as well as the fiction prize. So until we read again, bye.